to Keto Upgrade. My name's Alicia, a former pastry chef, now a sous chef for the last 10 years or so. I have been doing keto for about 2 months, 3 months, and I realized the only way I'm going to stick to this is making pastries and sweets that taste like the the store-bought brand or the normal ones I used to make as a pastry chef. So the first one I did was ice cream. So we'll start here. There's a bunch of reference material below that I looked through, I searched through to figure out, different ways of making it. I wanted to do a traditional churned ice cream recipe. And I just started with vanilla because that's the easiest and you can go from there. So I weigh out my ingredients. It's easier because I actually thirded the recipe here. And it's not exactly a third because you can't cut 32, by 3. But the first one called for a whole quart of each, heavy cream and half. So I did 11 ounces of heavy cream. There you go. 0.1 over, not too bad. And I already weighed out my half because we're getting low on stuff here. So we had to make sure we had the right amount left to make this recipe. So 10 ounces of half. And then the sugars. Now I started my first recipe with monkfruit sweetener, which is my favorite alternative sweetener on keto. And they also have the golden, which is, nice. There's a couple different golden sweeteners you can get, but I like the monkfruit one. So I'm using that one, and then I'm using xylitol and allulose. Now, xylitol, they have, I've seen videos saying it's not good for keto and such, but I've tried it, and I've eaten the ice cream, and I've, tested my blood sugar, and it didn't really spike. So, but I did cut the amount down in this recipe even, because to cut out on the calories a little bit. And I wasn't a big fan of just straight allulose. So I'm doing half and then the 2 tablespoons of the golden sweetener. This is also not good for pets. So if you have, dogs or cats, you do not want them to be anywhere near this stuff. 1/4 cup of xylitol. 1/4 cup of the allulose. And the original recipe had a little bit, it had only a 1/2 cup of sweetener total. But the allulose is a little bit less sweet than normal sugar, so I'm adding an extra 2 tablespoons of sweetener to this. I did try the all allulose recipe, and it wasn't quite sweet enough for me. So all that together in the cream mixture. You can give it a little stir, just initial stir there. And then the secret to this recipe that makes it still scoopable, just like the regular normal ice cream brands in the store, is gelatin. I've tried a bunch of different ways. I researched all the different, techniques to making it, still scoopable after a day. And I tried, the coconut oil. I tried vodka. I tried xanthan gum. I wasn't a fan of those, and they didn't really work that well. So I'm doing the gelatin. It's just an unflavored gelatin. You can use the unflavored beef gelatin. That's really good for keto and all that stuff too. I just happen to have this on hand already, so I didn't want to buy any new. A 1/2 teaspoon of gelatin. You just sprinkle it over the milk just because you want to bloom this a little bit before you get it going on the heat. And this has a lot in it. You don't need a whole pack. You can do this a couple recipes with this. Take it over to the stove. Do low heat, medium low. And you just want to stir this. Once that's bloomed a little bit, do a pinch of salt. Once it's been sitting for a minute, you can give it a little stir. The original recipe for the churned vanilla ice cream that I looked up, it was just a normal non-keto recipe, and they actually didn't even heat it at all. They just mixed everything together in a bowl and put it in the churner. But with the keto sweeteners, I was afraid like stuff wouldn't combine right. So I wanted to do this method, which is basically a custard, you know, kind of recipe where you heat the milk or the cream and you temper the egg. The original recipe just poured everything together. So I like to bring this up to at least a simmer, just so I know that all the sugars are dissolved and everything is cohesive in there. The gelatin's all dissolved. Now, the third of a recipe I did, the reason I did that, first off, was because I was doing a lot of testing. Second off was, I mean, the original recipe makes 12 cups of ice cream, which in these times right now, with, you know, being home all the time, I did not want 12 cups of ice cream in my freezer. Plus all the testing, I would have had like, you know, 90 cups of ice cream. So I just cut it into third. All the recipes are below, and I did include a full recipe of this. It's a very easy measurements that way. It's easier if you don't have a scale and all that. You can just do a whole quart of each. I also have all the macros down below for all this. So this recipe here makes 8 half-cup portions, so 4 cups total. And I did it into half-cup portions because this recipe does have, you know, quite a bit of carbs. It's 5 grams of net carbs per half cup, but it's really good. So, you know, it's either, you know, you get your keto ice creams at the stores, which they are good, but I could eat the whole pint of those, you know, and yes, they only have 1 gram of carb per half cup, but they're just not, you know, the nice, you know, scoopable creamy. They don't melt the same way. This ice cream will melt the same way as regular ice cream, even though it's keto. So just keep stirring this every once in a while, and while this is heating, we're going to get the rest of our stuff ready. So you're going to need a bowl and 1 egg. Crack that in there. Wipe your hands off. And we're going to get our strainer that we need. Have that ready. And then we need an ice bath. Which I already grabbed my ice here. If you don't have an ice cube maker, this could be a difficult step for you. So you can also just skip this step and you can, you know, stir it, do everything we're going to do, and then just put plastic wrap down on top of the mixture and pop it in the refrigerator until the next day. You got to make sure it's definitely all the way cooled down. So, but once it hits like 42 degrees or so, that's when you can churn it, you know, the temperature of your refrigerator. So keep going back and stirring this every once in a while. You don't want anything, if it's not all incorporated, to burn on the bottom or scorch. You're just looking for little bubbles, a little bit of steam coming up. Okay, so our mixture has come to a simmer. So everything's all nice and incorporated in here. I'm gonna grab, make sure you don't burn yourself like I do a lot. And it's just like steaming up. You can see it. And there's like little bubbles around the pot. That's how you know it's ready to go. So you want to temper your egg, which means basically you don't want to scramble it. So you don't want to add all this hot liquid at once. You want to give your egg a little whisk. Get it broken up. Just pour in a little bit at a time while whisking. Make sure you're getting that egg all broken up in there. Every time you can add just a, you know, hair more than you did the time before. And now that it's nice and hot and steaming, should be good to go. pour it back in to your mixture. Make sure it's all nice and mixed up. Now at this point, you could put it back onto the stove and make it like into a more custard filling. Like I said, the original just mixed everything together. We're doing this to melt the gelatin and to mix in all the sugars. But you can cook it back on the stove, and that would be, you do that up to 160 degrees, but you have to keep stirring constantly. You do not want it to burn, and if you go over 160, it will scramble on you. You gotta put your strainer right into the bowl. The reason we put it back into the pot, and you can get rid of that. You want to strain this in just to make sure you have no bits of egg or anything that have got left behind. You don't want that in your ice cream. There you go. Keep this also because you're going to want to stir this quite often. So once that's all set in your bowl, you want to add your vanilla extract. Now, you can add any flavor extract you want, and it all depends, you know, your macros. I put the other vanilla extract in like my carb counter, and there was carbs in it. So you got to make sure you're figuring out your carb count for whatever ingredients you use. And I actually ran out of vanilla extract, my Simply Organic, because I did all this testing. So I'm actually going to put in almond extract, which that'll be interesting to taste. We have not done that previously. I'm sure it'll be delicious though. So you need 1 tablespoon of that. You can also do however much you want. I mean, the original recipe was 1.5 tablespoons for the whole thing. So I actually didn't cut it in thirds. I actually did more than that. But I like flavorful ice cream. But then just make sure that your bowl that you're using as your ice bath fits in there real good. You want this not to spill over in your refrigerator or anything. So after that, you can put this into your refrigerator. And you want to make sure you are stirring that, every 20 minutes or so. And if you're doing your ice cream right now, just take your thermometer over every time you're stirring it and, take the temperature of it. That way you know when you're ready to churn your ice cream. So we will be back to show you how to turn the ice cream. Okay, so the ice cream is ready to churn. It only took about 20 minutes in the refrigerator on that ice bath, so it's very quick. Take it out of there. Put it on some kind of towel. It's going to be all wet on the bottom. And get rid of your ice bath. Give this a little stir. I haven't stirred it in the last couple minutes. Should all be good to go. And then you want to get your ice cream maker ready, whatever kind you have. I got this KitchenAid here. I can never remember how to put this on. There we go. And then you always want to keep your churning bowl in the freezer until the very last second. I also like to put whatever bowl I'm going to be putting it in after in the freezer so it's nice and cold. Set all that up. Then you start churning. On mine anyways, this is how you do it. You gotta look up whatever recipe, whatever instructions on that you have. Slowly pour it in. Make sure you get all the mixture in there. And this will take, in my machine, it takes about 15 or 20 minutes to churn fully. But while we're waiting on that, the first recipe I did was all monk fruit sweetener, and it was the best tasting for me. That's the one that, you know, the flavor I like the best. But, you know, I read up on research and stuff, and it said, you know, the sweeteners you had to have that, you know, wouldn't freeze solid was the xylitol or the allulose. So that's why I bought those two, and I worked out the ratios with those. But that original recipe is down below, and if you want to do that one, it is perfectly fine. It's a good ice cream recipe. It only stays scoopable for an hour or two in the freezer, and then the next day you're just gonna have to pull it out and like let it sit on the counter for 15 minutes, just like the keto brands that are, you know, in the store. So you can do that one too. It's a lot simpler. I didn't change anything to the original recipe. I just swapped out sweeteners on that one. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes or so. This is the consistency you want. If you want to you can serve it now, but you can keep going if you want. I mean, it just makes it a little bit more frozen, but this is when I usually take it off. So you undo that. Scrape off your paddle. You grab your bowl that you put in the freezer. It's nice and cold. You can also serve it just like this if you want. It's like soft serve consistency. Like I said, you can keep going with it if you want it even thicker than this. And also, just doing it longer will just incorporate more air into it. So you'll probably end up with more than 4 cups of ice cream. But I like this consistency. It's nice and creamy. And I usually let it, you know, freeze for a couple hours before I eat it. Usually I do this before I prepare dinner. That way I'll have this for after dinner. So this is a 4-cup bowl here. It's the perfect size for this ice cream. At least the third of the recipe. That's all set. You're going to pop this in the freezer, or you can eat it right now if you'd like. And then, of course, you can add toppings and everything too, which I will probably be doing some videos on that in the future. You know, doing add-ins and stuff like that. I also did a couple of these recipes with cashew milk and almond milk, and they are way less carbs that way because heavy cream and half do have some carbs in it. So I'm probably going to come back with a couple of recipes with the cashew milk because the cashew milk is really good. I actually just discovered cashew milk, and it's a great alternative to regular milk. So that'll be coming up in future videos, and I'll probably be having some cheesecake coming up and some cookies and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon.